all in when I show up. Whole place about to blow up. Superior to that competition. I'm in first place, yeah, that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave. Eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up in the place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate.
Broken dreams in my pocket. Golden thing round my neck like a locket. Carve your name in my mind, cause you caught it. You caught it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street light at the young, so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. Golden. Yeah. Bodies laid on the carpet. Eye to eye, glistening. No, I saw it. I saw it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street light at the young, so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. Freedom, I never had the chance to run. Leave behind the said and done. Figure out what's to come. Reasons, all the bigger things I can't ignore. I'm not getting what I came here for. Gotta get ahead of something more. So I think I found a new way out, way beyond a shadow of doubt. 'Cause I can't breathe, and I guess I could be stronger now and leave it up to fate somehow. But I'm doing this for me.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Simplay Motorsport, here in time for the GTEs around the Red Bull ring. We've got 12 drivers out there hoping to get the final two, Liam and Fury, in before the end of the night. With 12 drivers out on track, I'm Matthew Duffin. I hope you've enjoyed the week sort of rest since the GT5s. No GT3s this week due to something that was happening on Wednesday night. I think it might have been the football. I'm not too sure. Either way, it's good to be back. I'm glad to be back on air. To be fair, I've missed you all so very much, and I'm joined tonight in the commentary box. No Sweet and Sticky, but it's Mad and Jamie. Jamie, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Matthew. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, buddy. What are we looking after tonight? What are we looking for tonight? Red Bull Ring. We've seen it for the past 2 weeks in the F1. Very, very good circuit. A lot of overtaking can happen.
Yeah, a lot of overtaking can happen here. It's a good car for. It's a good track for the power cars. It's a lot of straights. So yeah, we should see the Ford GT do very well tonight.
Indeed we should. We've got a title here which the Only G is leading as we come into this one then, followed by Valeside 4 points behind him. Unorthodox is 11 points off the title lead, with Disco, who's not able to race tonight unfortunately. He's 23 behind. BT Targa again not able to race tonight. He's at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, as Liam and Fury have joined, so they're both in. Nice to see that one. So they're both not here. Falguest is in and he's set P6. 8 on 18 points. DJ Phil Green had a brilliant Bruno, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, Jamie. A real good race for him. He sits in P7. Andy, who struggled at the minute, we see him on the screen. What can he do tonight? That's the real big question. Not had the best of weeks here at Simplay Motorsport. X-Mart in P9. That Buzzy Boy is 10th. He had a horrible Bruno, didn't he? With Fury in... Nicky in 11th. Fury in 12th. Grandad Steve in 13th. Ben Parkey pulled out, so he is out of the running. Maze Gamer 17th, and still no Sam Thumbfinger as of yet. The Much Nuts, new to Simplay Motorsport, making his debut tonight. How will he go? Let's see what he can do in this one. And as well as him, we've got a few new faces, a few regular faces, but also new to the GTEs. This man who's running the Porsche Shock Horror, Gary 131, around the Red Bull Ring tonight. We've also got Sooty Apex. Daniel Francis just there was across the grass. We'll go to Daniel Francis. Daniel Francis, you'll see him in the Gulf Mercedes on a Wednesday night in the Pro-Am. You'll see him in a GT5 on the Monday nights as well, and you're now seeing him in the GTE tonight in the Gulf Aston Martin. So welcome, Daniel Francis. And we've got this man, Sooty Apex, a Cora lover, Lamborghini lover, and now he's in a Ferrari, just to add to his collection of cars that he has driven here at Simplay Motorsport throughout the season. Evening to the wall, and Disco McDisco Face in the chat already. 8 people watching. Guys, get your comments in the chat. Let's hear from you, and let's hear where you are, what you're up to as Maze Gamer gets himself back in then. So 15 cars on the grid. Keegan Wells, nice, says Keegs. Nice to see you, Keegan. Good evening. Hope you're enjoying your holiday. Hope you're looking after your dad and behaving, more to the point, and it's nice to see you here. Welcome along as we're in, Jamie, for a 34 lapped race. Well, 33 laps. The first lap will be reverse grid, in which, let me take you through the reverse grid order in just a moment, but 33 laps around this Red Bull Ring track. What are we expecting?
Expecting a lot of close, clean racing. Expecting a lot of passes using slipstream. It's say up towards the hairpin of turn 2 or turn 3, whichever one you want to call it. Yeah, there'll be a lot of send it there, even into turn 1. Yeah, it'll be the first sector is the main overtaking opportunity through there. But yeah, just looking for some close, clean, good racing.
Indeed we are. The grid order then is Maze Gamer will start on pole from Grandad Steve. Fury then will line up third with that Bozzy Boy fourth. X-Mart behind Bozzy. Andy just behind him. DJ Phil Green then behind Andy. Falgas comes behind him. Then then Unorthodox, no Disco tonight. Veilside will be behind Unorthodox, then the Only G. Then Gary 131, Daniel Francis and Sutty. And then it will be the Mutts Nuts who will start dead last in this one then. So that is something to keep our eyes on as we go into tonight. What are we looking forward to tonight, and Jay? What car in particular? Is it Ford GT night again?
I mean, you can't look past the Ford GT. A car I want to see do really well is the Aston Martin. If I was racing the GTEs, I would choose the Aston Martin myself. So yeah, I want to see it do really well. But yeah, like I said, I can see the Ford GTs running away with this.
It's going to be an interesting night. It's going to be interesting to see the battles. But yeah, you are right. The Ford GT looks like a car. What can Veilside do in his Corvette? He looked good week 1 at Oschersleben. He didn't look as good at Bruno. What can he do tonight? A point to prove, maybe.
Yeah, he has. Before we started this, we were told by everyone that Veilside's very good in these cars, and he showed us what he can do at Oschersleben, but at Bruno he was a bit off the pace. So yeah, he's got a big tag to his name. So yeah, he needs to put his he just needs to be right up there.
He does indeed. As we say, evening to Peaceful Stepdad, evening to Tony. What, no football, he says in the chat. As Bethany and Duffin, good evening to you as well. Good evening everyone, says Peaceful Stepdad. And Keegan Walsh, gonna guess SIY is the Mutts Nuts. Yes, he is. Although I can't see it now. No, the Mutts Nuts is P5 at the minute, so SYI. Oh, in the Discord you mean? Yeah, I'm with you now in the Discord, yeah. SYI is the Mutts Nuts. 30 people watching, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Let's get this video to 20 likes by the end of the evening. Share it with your friends, tell them to tune in, and if they haven't got anything better to do on their Friday night, get them on. As Sutty Apex here looks like he's had a bit of a spin on the first corner, coming out of the first corner should I say, around here, and that's not what he'll be wanting going forward in the race. We know Sutty's a quick guy. Pad or wheel, that's the question tonight. What is he on? As Maze Gamer is disconnected, hopefully he can get back in. He's got to be quick about it though.
Yeah, hopefully Sutty's on the wheel, because the pad for him going on the pad is the cheats way out. But he doesn't look like he's coping too well. There's probably too much straight line speed for him compared to what he's used to on a Thursday night.
As we have got Maze Gamer back in, so he should be able to get back into the session as well. That's what we want to see. The Mutts Nuts then currently sat down in P6 at the moment. As Andy, I think a bit of a surprise here, is topping the timing screens in the BMW. Not the quickest car as Maze Gamer disconnects. Once again, this will be a shame for Maze Gamer if he can't get in.
Yeah, on a Thursday night though, Andy always sets very good lap times in the Ginetta. The Ginetta's not the quickest cars, but Andy just seems to, in these practice and qualifying sessions, he's just able to pull it out from somewhere. But Dan's gone 4/10 quicker than him, so the Ford GT's now gone to the top of the times where we expect them to be.
Yeah, the Ford GT above Andy then, as it's Dan separated from G this time around, as Daniel Francis pops a time into P9 at the minute, well off the back of the others, as is Gary, that Bozzy Boy and X-Mart at the minute. Sutty and DJ Phil not yet set a lap time then. So it's going to be interesting to see what these boys can do. An evening race here at the Red Bull Ring, running a bit later at night. As we say, evening to Little Each as well. It's nice to see Craig in. Hello all, says Dean Wasaki. So we've got Dean in the chat as well. Dean, loving it. One of the admins who's the admin for this, isn't he? One of the stewards for this. In fact, in which we've had very little, very little, Jamie, because me and yourself were in that same conversation to talk about. In fact, we've had nothing to talk about on the Friday night admin.
Yeah, everyone's been nice and clean so far, so we haven't had to slap anyone's wrists.
Yeah, nothing to be slapped at the moment.
G's gone into second as well, so he's got very close to Dan, and Andy's gone quicker because he was about 4 tenths off Dan, but he's now 3 tenths behind.
Indeed he has. Unorthodox looking good round here tonight, and he's taken 8 wins after his win on Monday night. So can tonight be a night for Dan in which he could up his win tally that little bit more, as Daniel Francis very wide through there then. Can Dan up his win tally tonight, do we reckon, to put another win in, take him to win number 9, obviously gaining on yourself in Gary 131. Gary's in here tonight himself. If he could maybe put a setup together quickly, could Gary be on the back of Dan to get his 17th win? You're obviously on 19, Dan on 8. Dan's going to want to catch Fury on his wins as well, who's on 10, so a lot to play for. Also tonight, a few people making a few more appearances. There is a 50th appearance maker, and it's this man on screen now. Fury will make his 50th appearance tonight, provided he starts the race. Fury will make race number 50, and that is a lovely milestone for himself.
Yeah, it's a good milestone to get to. 50 races.
50 races. Sutty will go to 47, so he's nearing the 50 mark, which will mean that his 50th race will come shortly, as G there ducking into the pit. So Dan from G from Andy, who's on a lap. That's just a bit wide there from Andy himself. Liam's done. Yeah, here's the Muts Nuts. He's crossing the line and stays P8. Andy crosses the line and can't improve any time there as well. So that is the 10-minute practice session over and done with. What the hell are you doing, bro? There, bro, says Little Leach in the chat. Daniel Francis with a very nice Aston Martin says the wall. Wiggle, 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 says Keegan Walsh. I genuinely believe I'd been on for the win tonight, judging by the pace so far. Nice to hear. Nice and clean racing, everyone. Keep it up, says Dean Wasaki. Keep it up indeed. So we know the grid order. We know what the grid order is to be. Who's your tip for tonight, Jamie?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'd have to put my money on the only G. It was only practice, but he was quite close to Unorthodox's pace, and yeah, he's from what I've seen of him throughout the season, he's very quick in the Ford GT, so I can expect him to make his way to the front and have the pace over the distance.
Well, let's see what he can do going forward tonight. It is going to be an interesting race. We've got some of the best GTE drivers out there at the minute, so it is going to be an interesting one to see what these guys can do. And I think tonight as well it is going to be an interesting one in terms of who is, making your way from the back of the grid's never easy, as we've seen on the GT5 night. You've seen on Monday yourself with G and Chocolate Man coming together and flipping, caused a lot of chaos. And myself sort of mid-pack, Biggs towards the back of the pack. Dan got through it. A lot of chaos can be happening here. Even into Bethany, I don't think car must be broken. Craig says Bethany, a few cylinders down, I would say, says Craig. And come on, Dan, says Keegs. And he's got 15 people watching, 13 likes, guys. Let's smash that thumbs up button. So I will go through the grid order for you once more. It is Maze Gamer on pole, but he's now not here, not able to get back in the session. So what a shame for Maze Gamer. So it'll be Grandad Steve on pole from Fury, that Bozzy Boy, Xmar, Andy, DJ Phil, Falguest, Unorthodox, Valeside, G, Gary, Daniel, Sutty, and then the Muts Nuts will start at the back of the pack in this one. So it's going to be an interesting one to see. Sun setting here, Jamie, so the night's going to sort of roll in with 33 laps racing to go. Pit window lap 7. When would you roughly pit? Are you an early pit stop? Are you a late pit stop? What's your strategy off the back of having a good...
I think we lost Grandad Steve because he's now in the pit, so he won't be on pole either.
He doesn't appear to have readied up here, so what a shame for him. He's missed the start of the race, and we are away here then. And Sutty and the Mutsnuts need to slow themselves down. Oh no, that is Sutty and Dan. They pull off to the side. So we've lost Grandad Steve then. And we're down to 14 runners already, so not the start to this race that Grandad Steve would have wanted, or Mace Game. Evening all, hope everyone is well. We hope you're well as well, Welshie. So then, the grid will be Fury from that Bozzy Boy in second place. So Fury will lead, that Bozzy Boy will be second. Then it will be X-Mart in this one. Where is that Bozzy Boy? He's down in sixth, so he needs to get a wiggle on here and get himself to the front of the pack. Liam not really racing to the front, is he? He needs to get himself second.
Fury's where he needs to be, I think.
Yeah, I mean the grid order's been posted. Liam, you're behind Fury, mate, so get a move on.
Yeah, if you don't move, it's your own fault.
Yeah, penalised if he doesn't move. That'll be a real shame. Sutty at the back, the Mutsnuts by the back as well. Liam, I think, may have now been told we've lost Grandad Steve then. So then, Fury, where is Liam? We need to keep an eye on Liam. Fury needs to start back in the pack up here.
Yeah, I think the Mutsnuts is trying to let Sutty through, but Sutty's not.
Yeah, so where is Liam? That is the big question. Liam, still fourth. Well,
yeah, he's still
X-Mart,
really
where's X-Mart as well? X-Mart's only fifth. X-Mart needs to get himself behind Liam then, as DJ Phil is flashing to try and get Liam to go through. Liam needs to move now.
Yeah, Liam's causing a bit of chaos.
I think Dan's come forward to basically say to Liam, get a move on with it. Liam needs to get to the front of this pack, this queue here.
Yeah, Falgus is now trying to let him through. They're all flashing to say to Liam, go through.
Yeah, Fury needs to stop.
Liam
is really causing a lot of havoc here, isn't he? Liam is really making this life difficult for all these people. It's
he's causing
it's not what you want to see.
Yeah, he's causing a bit of a bottleneck here.
Liam and DJ Phil and Falgast are pretty much stopping. Jamie, jump into the other party and just have a word with Liam. Tell him he needs to start P2, as he's now just flashing. You can still do the cameras. So while Jamie jumps into the other party to get Liam to go second place, I don't really know what Liam's doing. Fury pretty much needs to come to a stop. Apologies about this. Liam is causing a bit of havoc. He now gets himself into second place then, and then it should be X-Mart to follow behind him. So where's X-Mart? X-Mart's currently fourth. He's going to jump up into third now. So X-Mart, oh no, he's currently fifth. X-Mart's now still fourth. They're going to be green in a minute, and they're still not in order. And really, all this has been down to Liam. X-Mart's now third. Andy's still behind X-Mart. Falgast needs to get himself behind DJ Phil. There goes X-Mart then up into third place. Falgast is... after X-Mart, it needs to be Andy. Well, I tell you what, they've made a real hash of this start, and I think the blame has to sit at this man here as they get into the final corner, and so many people are out of position that it's unbelievable. Liam has made an absolute hash of that, but either way, we're going to have to go green, and we've gone green now coming through the final corner. Fury has dropped them all, and that is not a great start if you're DJ Phil, as the three cars out front have pulled away. Fury, Liam and X-Mart get a great start. Andy a bit bogged down, as DJ Phil was as well in the two BMWs. Falgast down in sixth place, Dan then seventh. Maybe a bit of a promotion from where he should have been, but DJ Phil loses it out to turn one. Veilside got up the inside of Dan, as Dan has to go the long way round to avoid spinning DJ Phil there. Gary as well is on the back of the Only G, and then there's the two Ferraris and the Aston Martin of Daniel Francis Sutty and the Mutsnuts in the background, sort of having a scrap as they come towards turn two. Dan looking up the inside of Falgast already, can't get that move done, and Gary maybe being a bit of a nuisance on the back of in fact ahead of the Only G. Is he ahead of the Only G? No, G's ahead of Veilside then. Gary on the back of Veilside. Fury though out front, already starting to pull a bit of a gap. 1 second to Liam already.
Yeah, so for those top three would have probably been licking their lips. DJ Phil was sitting right the way back. He was almost in a different country.
It was a strange start, and you have to say Liam there kind of ruined the start for a few other people. He's now 1.5 seconds off the back of Fury, as Fury has gone. Here's Falgas then trying to defend from Dan. Is a bit further up front. I think that is that X-Mark getting past Liam? Yes, it is. X-Mark then has got past Bozzy, and it's now Andy who's going to try and get on the back of him. So Bozzy down to 3rd place, and X-Mark on the back of him, although Liam's going to have a look back into the final corner and just can't get the move done on the Corvette. But Liam looking a bit racy here. He's got Andy on the rear of him. There's Dan G and Veilside then. Dan G and Valgast all here. What has happened to DJ Phil? He's well off the back of the pace at the moment, and that is Gary 131 who's got who is with Veilside as well. Liam's got past X-Mark but has Andy, but the straight line that BMW may not be able to keep up with the Porsche Corvette.
Yeah, it depends how good Andy. It depends how brave Andy's been on the brakes. Liam cuts across in front of him, so Andy's just kind of a bit boxed in there, but he'll look for a better exit off the corner. The BMW's notorious for being really good off the corners, but he's got the run on X-Mark. But
he's got great traction out the corner, hasn't he? There, Liam defending really well at the moment, and Dan already on the back of this pack, Jamie.
Yeah, Dan. Yeah, I think they're all just slowing each other up. I mean, Fury is the second lap of racing, and he's 5 seconds clear up the road. So whilst these lot are all battling, it's allowing Dan, G, and all of them to close in. As Dan has enough to have gone up the inside of Andy there and got the move done. So
Dan making sure he pulls ahead quickly in this race. And on Fury's 50th appearance, he couldn't have dreamed for a better opening 2 laps. Dan has now got to deal with Liam then, as Liam in his Porsche is currently back up into 2nd and has just gapped Andy and Falgast. STE crashed his game, not sure. Well, Grandad Steve crashed his game crash. That's what happened with him. Then there's Falgast in the chat. You lads seriously downplaying the GTE Beamer. It's got more than enough power, says Disco. So maybe we do downplay it. Maybe it's got more power than we think, as Dan then has got past Liam in a straight line. And the power of the BMW needs to happen here, as that is the only G looking to go around the outside of Andy. And Andy looking up the inside and has outbraked himself into turn 1 as he looked up for a way past Liam. And now G can maybe look up the inside of Andy. Andy closes the door on that one as they follow Liam up towards turn 2. G's going to look around the outside, but not just around Andy. He's got to look around the outside of Liam as well. He's got past Andy in a straight line. Has he got past Liam? I tell you what, just about he has, and the only G makes that one stick, and Liam losing 2 places here as well as Andy. Andy's now attacking him. Sorry, Jamie.
Yeah, I was going to say Andy was up his inside lip, but Liam, in that hairpin, he just jumped over the curb and near enough slammed into the side of G there, a bit like Pierre Gasly the other weeks when he got front wing damage going straight into the side of Giovinazzi, I believe.
3rd race of this lap, and Fury had a 5-second. He's caught onto that. He had a big wiggle though. That's lost a bit of momentum through the couple of corners. And who's that now going slow? That is a Porsche running a little slow, and I think it's that Bozzy boy who's wide now and on the grass, and round he goes. And get the brakes on. Words about Liam's. Daniel Francis just avoiding him there. Nicely done though from Liam there. Liam causing chaos, says the Disco McDisco face. So it's G now up to 3rd, and they are slowly, the 4 GTs of Dan and G, catching on the back of Fury. X-Mark now ahead of Andy. We didn't see how that one happened, but they're taking Falgast with them as well here as they come down the start straight to start the 4th lap.
Sutty's made a mistake because he's now dropped behind Daniel Francis and that Bozzy boy, so struggling with the Ferrari, it seems.
It does seem that way indeed. DJ Phil's not got back onto the pace of these guys yet as well. Gary just on the back of Veilside as well at the moment, but Andy trying to look past the Corvette of X-Mark then, while he's got Falgast on the back of him. And that BMW, I tell you what, maybe we do need to give it some more credit, because look at the run he's got out the corner. Great traction, and around the outside he's going to look now to come down towards turn 3, the long right-hander, where we see if you run wide it's a 5-second penalty according to the Formula 1. But Andy trying to look for the cutback and get the inside line, but that's not going to be the inside as they come to turn 4. Side-by-side action. Great racing from these GTEs tonight at the moment. It's brilliant stuff so far.
At the inside.
He's got him done. Yeah, he's got him done.
Yeah, that's a brilliant move. He just ran it a little bit wide and got on the power a bit earlier than the next knot there and got the move done.
I tell you one man who's not been able to follow G and Dan through that's Valeside. He's on the back of Falgas now, side by side coming into the penultimate corner is Andy, still having to make sure he's got the job done on X-Martin. Now he has. Valeside's just moved himself up into P6, so has dropped well off the back of Dan and G at the moment and hasn't got really an answer to follow them through. Go on Dan, says Welshie in the chat. Dan having a great start to this to this race at the moment, up into P2 after what we had to say was a really frantic, chaotic start. Sutty now trying to get on the back of that Bozzy boy, but we'll stay with this battle at the moment. There is Gary and the Mutsnuts in the background, the Ferrari and the Porsche. There's the Porsche Falgast who got overtaken by Valeside then, and these GTE boys are seriously quick.
Yeah, Valeside looked like he was just he's so much later on the brakes than X not there, and he just got on the power so much earlier. He's now side by side coming up towards Alex Albon and Sergio Perez's favourite corner.
Well, just the Red Bull's favourite corner, because Perez had and X-Mod a bit of a slide under braking, and that's caught Falgast out, and Falgast has lost the rear as he reverses and just narrowly avoids Gary 131. I'll tell you what, that must have been a bit of a brown pants moment for Gary, because Liam rolled back into him last Thursday night, and now Falgast has nearly reversed into him tonight as Sutty then has got past that Bozzy boy. Head down now, Andy, fast laps dude, says Disco in the chat. But X-Mart under braking there, Jamie, just a bit of a wiggle and a slide into the side of Valeside.
Yeah, he just outbraked himself, and as we were talking about incidents at that corner, they had an incident.
Yeah, just talking about Red Bull's favourite corner for being pushed off wide or pushing people off wide if you're Sergio Perez. That was another one of them. Fury at the minute lapping the same as the only G, so Fury doing a good job out front. Dan's going to want to catch Fury because he's not going to want Fury to get away of his laps of his top wins at the minute. Come on bro, top 5, says Little Leach. Well, he's down in 7th at the minute as he got past Falgast. The Mutsnuts still on the back of him, and Andy is wanting to now get some now he's got some free air. He'll want to put some quick laps in and maybe try and work his way out to the back of the three Ford GTs.
Yeah, but say maybe around here clean air might not be the best, because say you get X-Mart and Valeside behind, they're getting the slipstream off them, so they'll be a lot quicker down the straights. Yeah, he'll be good, and you'll be a lot better in the infield because of the BMW, but the Corvette's just getting a distant slipstream off him, so having someone in front of you could be a bit better for Andy here.
We'll have to wait and see then, as Valeside now up into P5. Lap times of the 3 Ford GTEs out front are all in the 27s. Fury the quickest of the 3, and you drop into the 28s, 30s, 29s as you go further down the order. Sutty Apex actually quicker than the 5 cars in front of him last time around. So can Sutty try and look for a way past, as that was the Mutsnuts just tapping the rear of Gary then, and Andy and Gary here already making their mandatory pit stop at the right point for the pit window. So Andy and Gary then straight in on pit window time.
Yeah, Falgast is going to look for the cutback on the Mutsnuts here. He just goes right round the outside.
He does indeed, so good job from Falgast there. Cracking move from him then, as Sutty Apex and Daniel Francis is in the pits as well.
Mutsnuts is coming back at Falgast here. He brakes a lot earlier though and just tucks back in.
Yeah, maybe he didn't feel confident enough to get it in the corner and through then, as Andy Gary are out the pits and on their way. They've made their stop now. They're fine to go till the end of this race. Maybe the Mutsnuts just got a bit caught out by Gary coming into the pit lane. The pit lane is a bit horrible here at the Red Bull Ring, as you see G a couple of tenths quicker than Dan last lap. Dan a tenth quicker than Fury as well. So I'm just starting to make inroads this G as we're on board him. So smooth through the chicane there. What can the only G do? 15 people watching, 13 likes. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Let's get this video to 20 likes. Ooh, G, bit of a slide coming through the penultimate corner, but holds it well. And again, carries his speed through. Again, a bit more of a slide. Dan was very wide out the final corner. And G there, just a bit of a slide that he managed to hold on to. And still was 3 tenths quicker than Dan that lap. So while he's holding on to them slides, he needs to make sure he continues then. The Mutsnuts and Falgast carrying on their way. Sutty behind the Mutsnuts was quicker in that Ferrari. So what can Sutty do here tonight? That is the biggest question. What can Sutty do? The Mutsnuts so far as he heads down towards turn 1.
Mutsnuts just don't seem very confident in the brake as Falgas just runs it a little bit wide.
Yeah.
He just doesn't seem as confident on the brakes. I mean, I haven't really driven the Ferrari, so I don't know whether it's any good on the brakes. I know the Porsche is very, very good on the brakes, having driven it for 2.4 hours.
Oh, you see Falgas there in front, just getting, you hear the tyre squealing as he turns through the hairpin there. And yeah, exactly, the Ferrari, very interesting car that nobody picked it actually in the GTEs this year, and they're not so late entry into this one, as was Sutty Apex. So interesting to see what they can do in the Ferrari tonight as the sun is setting. Oh, he's just on the grass a bit there. His lap time's a bit slower than Sutty's behind him. Sutty's only 6 seconds off the back of the Mutsnuts, so we'll have to see what they can do. Andy has come out 5 seconds behind that Bozzy boy, so he has got work to do as Dan is now under 2 seconds to Fury, and that gap's starting to slowly come down from Dan now. Fury's led for a while, but at the minute Dan's starting to make the inroads that he needs to make.
Yeah, he's just been slowly edging along to the back of Fury. He's been letting Fury be comfortable in the lead, not trying to defend his stuff. Yeah, he's just been letting Fury run his own lines and stuff. He's now putting the pressure on because he can see the other full GT of the only G just getting that bit closer and nearer. So North Dubs has just got to push on now.
He has got a push on. Nicky, Go Team Prolapse guys in the chat. Nicky, nice to see you. Leave a like, buddy. Hope you're enjoying the Festival of Speed at Goodwood. Hope it's a nice day. Hope the weather's been kind to you. As G having a look up the inside of Dan, and I tell you what, had to lock up the brakes there as that nearly ruined Dan's race as he nearly span him round. So wish I'd made this race, says Disco Face, clearly feeling he had pace. Gary then has got back in front of Falgas. DJ Phil now into the pits for his stop after his spin. He's had a horrible time, hasn't he?
I think we've lost DJ Phil as well.
Oh yeah. I think you're right. There is a car in the pits. Well, DJ Phil then will score no points in this race.
I wonder whether he's been disqualified.
Speeding in the pit lane?
Yeah.
Possibly. It's a good shout. So DJ Phil then out of this one. Back from Goodwood, I'm burnt, I'm sore, but oh wow, was it so worth it, says Nicky. Well, I hope you had a good day, mate. Then as Buzzy Boy has Andy now on the back of him, and Andy's got to find his way past Liam yet again here. Liam not yet pitted, but running in a good 8th place here. Jamie had troubles at Bruno with the G. Yeah, G's made a huge mistake there, was well off. Valeside is now able to see him. And G, was 2/10 quicker than Dan last lap, has made a huge error somewhere. But yeah, he had we'll go back to Liam. He had the problems at Bruno as he's fighting Andy. Andy very, very wide. He's going to have to... he gets round the outside of Liam. Clearly more confidence in that BMW than what Liam's got in his Porsche.
Yeah, he's now pulled quite a gap on Liam already. He's pulled 3/10, even though he's overtaken. But we got the tail out of it. There, Liam looked for a bit of a dive bomb. That wouldn't work, and he's now dropped behind. He's dropped a second behind already. So yeah, Andy's got the pace in this one. I don't think he's just going to get up towards the likes of Unorthodox and G.
Yeah, Andy needed to clear Liam, didn't he, very quickly to get that run. To get on the back of the Fords when they do decide to make their pit stops then. But back to Liam, he had that trouble with his pedals at Bruno, if you remember. Terrible night for himself, where he ended up retiring from the race. He had trouble with his pedals last week in the GT3s at Sugo. Hopefully he's got that issue sorted a little bit more this time around, but so far so good. 9th still at the minute, but Gary Falgast and Daniel Francis have all pitted, so it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. Sutty has now got the gap down to 4 seconds to the Mutsnuts, so Sutty at the moment is flying. Let's go on board Sutty actually. Let's see on cockpit view.
Runs it a bit wide there.
Yeah, he's on the pad. You'll be able to tell me better than anything, but that to me is pad-like movement on the steering wheel there.
Yeah, that is pad movement. So I don't know whether he still gets his T-shirt now because he's
Oh, that's a good question. That is a good question.
Yeah.
Look how late Sutty breaks there, just after the 100 metre ball,
yeah.
and he's now got the gap down to 3.2 seconds. So Sutty clearly feeling the confidence, and we know he likes the GTE Ferrari. He's made it clear so many times. And Gary has got past Liam as well. So has Liam just made a mistake? I wonder, has Liam made a mistake? Because Andy is now well up, is about 10 seconds up the road. So yeah, I reckon he has, you know. And Gary's got past then. Falguest 8 seconds behind, but back to Sutty on his pad-like movements on the wheel. That gap, since we was last with him in a couple of corners, Sutty's gained a second. Sutty flying at the minute.
Well, the thing is, after his lap record at Bathurst, it's quite difficult to tell whether it is him on the pad or the wheel, because he's at that crossover point. He is at the crossover point now. Yeah,
he is at the crossover point, but you can definitely tell that his pad-like movement of the steering wheel there to see that he's on the pad as he runs over the AstroTurf and just clips the grass, gets a bit of a snap there as he corrects that one then. And as we pan back out towards the track side, Sutty at the minute looking like he's doing the business in terms of catching his fellow Ferrari. Andy fastest man on track now. Not last lap he wasn't, but I mean he's got across the line at 27.9. What's happened to Liam? Well off.
Yeah,
he's
gone well off.
He is. I mean, I don't know where Daniel Francis is. Oh no, Daniel Francis has got past.
Yeah, he's gone.
So Daniel Francis has gone through. So Liam may want to get it in the pits. The leaders are coming in. Don't forget, unlike the GT3s, you have got to let the leaders through to unlap yourself. Andy matching the pace of the three leaders up front. Dan's only got the gap down to 1.7 seconds. So Fury's responded, and Sutty here. We're seeing a much better GTE race tonight in terms of more action all the way through.
Yeah, there's a lot of action at the start. Went a bit quiet for a few laps, but now there's a bit more action on track again.
As the Mutsnuts then, he's trying to fend off Sutty Apex. And Sutty just getting a bit slidey coming into the chicane there, and he's lost a lot of time at the minute. And that's allowed the Mutsnuts to ease off the pressure so far. Allow him to be released from the pressure of Sutty Apex then. And Sutty's got all that work to do again there, Jamie. And Fury at the minute has gapped Dan by a bit more so far. So Fury so far, even though his last lap wouldn't have said that, Dan must have maybe made a mistake or two this time around, because Fury at the minute is lapping exceptionally well and being able to hold his gap to Dan. And if Dan wants to catch the total race wins of Fury, he could really do with Fury not winning this one tonight. DJ Phil, could not slow it down coming into the pits as that Bozzy boy trying to get him into second. Yeah, right, so that's about the formation that we know about that Bozzy boy. Yeah, we got that one, and you called it, Jamie, speeding in the pit lane then as Falguest is now gaining on the... In fact, no, what has happened to Falguest? A mistake maybe?
I think he's just made a mistake coming through that final corner, because Daniel Francis has overtaken him and pulled near enough 2 seconds on him. So
and Liam's only 3 seconds behind then, as Dan comes into the pits then at the end of lap 14. Dan's in.
I just saw Liam lose in the background.
Daniel Francis has oh no, that's Liam, sorry, apologies. That's Fury flashing him, so Liam's going to want to move out the way for Fury here. He's not going to want to get in the way, and he pulls over to the side and allows the Ford GT through. It messed up my race, says DJ Phil. I think it messed up a few people's races. It may be looked at before the start of before next week's race then, as the Mutsnuts has got Sutty Apex, who again all over that curb, just struggling for the traction out. Dan's dropped to 5th. Can he get out the pits before these two come through? Yes, he's just out in around turn 1
in front.
And Sutty now then right back on the back of the Mutsnuts at the minute. Dan up the road 3 seconds behind Exmart Vale side then, still P3, but just hasn't got an answer to these 4 GTs around here so far. Here goes Sutty. Are we going to see the Sutty send it into turn 2? No, he's had to back out. I tell you what, tonight may be as good a night of any of getting the Sutty sending out the closet and dusting it off, but it seemed a bit shaky there, and that might be why Sutty Apex wasn't able to complete the move there. He did look a bit rusty. Daniel Francis now has Falguest all on the back of his Aston Martin, lovely Aston Martin livery. And what can Daniel Francis do here with this one? It's going to be an interesting one to see. Falguest has already pitted Daniel Francis has as well, actually, to be fair. So this is for position. Nobody yet to pit. Liam's still to pit, down in P12. I mean, we'll still score points, so it's not the end of the world, but he's got to get to three-quarter distance, so he's got to get to lap 29. Sorry, 28, because there's only 33 racing laps.
Yeah, so as long as he gets there and scores some points, then he can't complain with scoring some points at the end of the day.
Halfway point of the season this, Jamie, as well for the GTEs. Only 3 races left after this before, and we'll announce it now, before the IndyCar season, and that is Sooty Apex into the wall then. So what a catastrophic mistake. He keeps still, and that's allowed Andy to another place. Andy then hasn't really got to fight, and that's bike damage. Yeah, huge damage.
Now the pad, I was going to say the pad will not help him here. He's got to do an entire lap of that, and having suspension damage whilst using the pad or controller is one of the worst things to do, because you just cannot drive the car on the wheel. It's a whole
little bit easier,
lot different.
Look at how much he's struggling here. Welshie in the chat, send it. Well, he sent it into the wall. Maybe he did your trick and dropped the pad on the floor. Not used to controlling it anymore. Just jokes, Chris. I think now, while there's a bit of a lull in the race, is as good a time as any to say that the next series on the Friday night, Jamie.
Yeah.
IndyCar will be coming. A 7-race calendar for the IndyCar series, which will be coming up after the GTs, not straight after. There'll be a week or two in between while we get everything set up and sorted, but there will be IndyCars coming on a Friday night. Road tracks for the final one, which will be an Indy 500. Now, did Daniel just lose it a little bit on that corner there?
I did hear a bit of a tyre squeal, but yeah, I didn't know whether that was Falguest or that was Daniel Francis. But they've got Fury just down the straight from them.
Yeah, Fury is just behind them, just coming through turn 3. Fury's still got to pit though. As Unorthodox then is gaining on the back of Xmart here. And Dan's going to want... Sooty Apex. When it rains, Jamie, it pours. And it's pouring on Sooty Apex right now.
Yep.
Well, what a shame. End of lap 16 for him.
Because he's not in it. It's because he's not in his traditional lawnmower, so he's paying the price for that.
10-second penalty in the pits, so he's got that to add to his time at the end. A long pit stop with the damage. Liam could find himself P11 here.
Yeah, and he's now about to go a lap down as well. Liam is about to come round. He's now coming into the pits. Takes a couple of the cones out. Oh,
so this is going to be interesting then. Liam versus Sooty in the pit lane. Who can do what? Oh, and that Buzzy boy. Sooty's away.
He's got one as well.
Oh, Sooty's got 50. Well, I know how that feels.
Yeah, I was only going to ask what lessons have you been teaching him?
Well, I know how that feels. Liam's coming towards the end of the pit lane then. Dan is now all over Xmart for 5th place. And Dan's out of the top 3, is out of the top 5. He's the only one to have pitted, so we'll want to clear Xmart as quick as possible. And look who's just come out in front of these two. Sooty as well, so Sooty will have to let the leaders through here.
Yes, Dan could use Sooty as an advantage here, because he's just in.
Oh, Xmart! He's lost the car, so Dan then will want to find his way past everybody, and he'll enjoy that one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sooty just not doing anything wrong, but he just made Xmart lose focus a bit, and and he's now dropped behind an Orthodox.
Well, Sooty here has got to get 50 seconds ahead of that Buzzy boy, and that's Daniel Francis. Wow, at the back end of the track, Daniel Francis with huge damage there. What was that because of? Well, there's the race leader and Falguest as well.
G has closed in a bit, so I wonder whether Fury's been caught up in that incident. Has he got any damage on the front? He's got a little bit of damage on the front, so I wonder whether Fury's made a bit of contact with Daniel Francis there.
Well. What a turn of events then in this one. Fury still leading this race, but 2.5 now to the only G. And what has happened there?
Yeah, he's really struggling now. However, this could get the person this might give a brilliant chance to. The person who was in the middle. Oh, we've lost Andy now.
Oh, what has happened to Andy? Fury's
in
off.
the gravel.
He's round. Where's G? G's now there. What has happened to Andy? That is a disaster. Fury, we think with damage, has now got G going up the inside. And he's led every lap of this race, is Fury. He's trying to keep it around the outside. And is doing a brilliant job at the minute, but cannot keep it there much longer. As G now gets it done. No, he hasn't. He's going to be on the inside for the next part of the chicane. And Fury then keeps that position. Can he sneak in front? Will he pit this lap? This is the question. But what has happened to Andy?
What has happened to Andy? Yeah, Fury's now in. So G takes the lead. So really for G, he didn't really need to fight that if he knew Fury. Yeah. If he could tell Fury's got damage, he would probably know that Fury's going to the pit. And once again, this has helped unorthodox, because whilst they were having a bit of a battle, he's closed the gap right down massively.
He's going to jump Fury in the pits. That's Daniel Francis now coming in. There was a pit. There was a pitman in the road there, and there was a mechanic in the road there. Bit of a glitch. Sutty now P9, but needs 50 seconds on all of his competitors. Fury is out the pits. P5. Xmot still not been in the pits yet.
Unorthodox. He's a long way behind Unorthodox. So Unorthodox really is now in net lead of the race.
So Liam back in as well. What's happened to Liam there then? So Liam back in for another stop. Not the light Liam would have wanted, or Daniel Francis. And Sutty Apex.
He's got enough fuel in, so I don't know whether he's...
Maybe he's had another off and he's got damage again. But this at the moment helps Sutty Apex in his quest of coming in the top 10 here.
Yeah, he's managed to hold it just, but he's got, I believe that is X just behind him, so just need to keep out of the way. With it getting a bit darker as well, it's probably playing a bit of havoc with the tyre temp, so...
Yeah, it's going to make the tyres all over the place. Liam's out the pits, as is Daniel. Can Liam now get 10 seconds ahead of Daniel? That's what he needs. There's Dan, 3 seconds or 2.5 seconds.
That's Valgas just in front of G, so...
Andy in the chat, Liam crashed into me as I was putting a lap on him.
Oh.
Daniel Francis, I pulled off the track to let Fury through, and he went up my back and off track.
Liam's now got Daniel Francis all over the back of him, and he just breezes past.
Is it a breeze past, or is Liam having a bit of a bad night and he thought, I'll let him through? Because Liam's nowhere near him.
He's Liam. I wonder whether Liam's put the AI in.
He's definitely put the AI in.
Yeah, he's put the AI in. So that was a bit of a breeze pass, because Liam's not even driving the car. So I think that's Valeside's flashing Liam, but he won't know that Liam's not even driving the car. But yeah, Liam is cool.
Well, that's a bit of a silly move for me, as Dan's coming up to the back of Liam. Dan's flashing Liam, and what Dan won't realise is it's not Liam, and the AI just gave Dan a little tap on the rear, and Liam put the AI in. What a silly manoeuvre to do, as Liam now then, well, furious maybe. That's why he's pitted again, to put the AI in the car.
Yeah, but don't get why he put the AI in the car if he knows the AI. I think the AI is now going to come back into the pit, so I wonder whether he's just done it by accident. Because he's coming back in, so yeah, we'll cut away back to the leader, but yeah, we'll check back on Liam in a minute to see whether he's taken the AI out of the car.
Well, that will definitely give Sutty Apex 10th place. Daniel Francis has now got to make sure he finishes within 50 seconds of Sutty Apex. G then, net leader of this race from Valeside, who is 19 seconds behind him at the moment. Dan, 2 seconds behind Valeside and 21 behind the only G. It's going to be fascinating to see when G pits what he can do compared to the only G. Can Dan take that race lead back? Or is G overcutting here, done what he needs to do by going longer and cutting down?
Yeah, so I think G's going right until the last few laps of the race, keeping out of the clutches of anyone, just keep having it all his own way at the front, and then pitting with just a couple of laps left to go.
You look at the track, he's got a pretty clear track in front of him. The next 2 cars are halfway up the next straight.
Yeah, just cut to Liam to see whether he's... Liam's put the A... No, has he put the A... No, I think the AI still might be in... Yeah, the AI is still in the cut.
No, I think that's Liam.
That's Liam now. But he just needs to stay out of the way. I believe that's
Gary.
That's Gary.
Falguest is behind G. That is Gary ahead of Falguest and in 6th place. The Mutt Snuts then still not pitted. Neither is Veilside or G or Exmar. And that is everybody who hasn't pitted. So what a shame for Andy then. Had good pace in that BMW tonight, is Andy?
Yeah, so he always has really good pace.
Oh, Falguest! We see him likes a loose car, and he's lost the rear at turn 3 again there, and that's not going to help him in his quest to catch Gary.
No, but back to Andy, he always has really good pace. He just never has the consistency. As the Mutt Nuts is now closing onto the back of X-Smart.
Although you have to say tonight, if Liam's the one who's caused an incident, well, that's a shame, because he obviously had good pace and was looking strong here.
Yeah, say, for some reason or another, and he just never has the luck. It's either doesn't have the pace, or when he does have the pace, he'll get involved in incidents.
Not the way he'd want it to go. The Mutt Snuts then has caught up to the back of Exmart. Maybe Exmart just struggling a little bit here. The Mutt Snuts has upped his pace a little bit, and I wonder then when these two are going to pit, because these two still yet to pit, as are the top 2.
Yeah, so I wonder if the Mutts and Nuts is just preserved his tyres as an Dubs goes past Daniel Francis, and he's trying to get onto the back of Veilside.
Yeah, Dubs here looking really racy. 1.5 quicker than Veilside last lap. And it's looking like he's going to try and get past him this lap. He needs to get past him sooner rather than later to get that clear air, like the only G, and put them quick lap times in, because Dan will not want G to overcut him. Fury then has got up to 4th as Exmart then, and the Mutt Snuts still battling out for position here. You have to feel for Fury, even though Daniel said that Daniel moved off track and Fury went into the back of him. You have to feel for him, because he did such a good job out front.
Yeah, he was just controlling the race, and more than likely Fury wouldn't have done it on purpose. He might have just had a bit of understeer and just couldn't help it. But yeah, it's just desperately unlucky for Fury, because I reckon he could have won. It could have been like a Wednesday night.
Could have taken his 11th win at Simplay Motorsport as Veilside is in at the end of lap 24. So Dan then 2nd place, and now he's got that free air to hunt down the only G. You look at the track map, Dan through turn 1, G coming down towards turn 3. Now when do these two decide to pit? Well, not this lap is the answer to that one. Sutty, with his 50-second penalty, is well in front of Daniel Francis. Veilside drops to 4th.
He's not moved.
No, he's also going to drop down to 6th. But Exmart and the Mutt Snuts have to pit. Let's not forget that. That is the Ferrari of Sutty Apex, who a couple of laps ago was on the back of the Mutt Snuts. He's now been lapped by him, although the Mutt Snuts still has to pit. But what a turnaround of a couple of laps here.
Yeah, so Sutty just making a few mistakes, and you can see what the consequences are. He's now been lapped by the person he was having a battle with.
Yeah. How the tables turn if you're Sutty Apex.
G's putting in some very good laps there.
Yeah.
Just switched over, but he just on a 126 as Xbox just runs a little bit wide, giving Mutsnuts half a chance.
Yeah, and Mutsnuts looks like he's upped his pace a little bit. Looks like he's getting stronger as the race goes on here, Jamie.
Yeah, so maybe we don't really know much about Mutsnuts, whether how often he drives the GTEs. This might be his first time in the GTE car. He might just be finding his way around it. Yeah, so we don't really know how much he's driven. I think he's now coming in. No. He looked like he was coming in.
Well, what we do know at the minute is the Mutsnuts keeping Exmart honest so far. Velside down to 6th place. He's about 20 seconds in front of Gary. So he's in. He's got huge damage. Maybe that's why we saw him off at turn 1, Jamie. Maybe big damage. Oh, look at that. Really crabbing is the Ferrari. And as he gets it in the pits now, Sooty Apex could be there for a while. And that 50-second gap he had back to Daniel Francis, and maybe that Bozzy boy might just slowly go out the window here then. Where's Daniel Francis? There's 2 cars going down the straight. That is, Exmart and the Mutsnuts are right on the back of each other. I don't know if we can pan to that one. Just seem to have lost Jamie Brazier at the moment then, so we are watching Sooty in the pits. We go on board the Mutsnuts now. So Jamie obviously seeing what we're seeing, and on board the Mutsnuts then, who's on the back then of Exmart. As Daniel Francis then has passed Sooty Apex, so that job is done. As the Mutsnuts now comes in at the end of lap 26 for himself. He's into the pits, and we are just awaiting Exmart and the only G to pit then. So where will the Mutsnuts come out? Sooty's back out in 10th. I tell you what, I don't even think he might just be over 50 seconds behind. He's 7 seconds behind Daniel Francis here. He's a minute 2 ahead of Liam. But any more incidents like that, and that's not what he wants. Has Gary got a puncher? Hashtag Mr. Slow, says Little Leachin, the teammate of the 2-time champion. Leachin Legend, and that's the only G. The only G's had a huge spin at pit entry, all on his own it looks like as well. And as G comes into the pits then at the end of lap 27, this could allow Unorthodox Dan Davis to take the lead of this race on lap 27 of 34. Now, did G touch the outer curb and lose it? We've seen him be a bit slidey all night. G's away now, but there's Daniel Francis. There's Unorthodox Dan Davis coming down the pit straight, and that's going to be the race lead for Dan Davis, and Unorthodox in the lead of this race and searching for race win number 9.
Yeah, so he had a bit of luck coming his way there with G making a small mistake, but he's got quite a big gap. He's halfway up the straight before G's even come out of the pit lane.
Yes, G there really having a bit of a disastrous lap then, and he's out the pits. He's only 11 seconds ahead of Fury. He will not want a couple of mistakes like that again, because G will have Fury crawling all over the back of him. The only man to pit now is Exmart in this one. Can Daniel Francis hold off Sooty Apex on track? But Sooty, even if he gets past, has got to go 50 seconds up the road. So Sooty is not really in Daniel Francis's train of thought in terms of a battle, because Sooty's got to get way up the road. And we're running out of laps here, lap 28 of 34. It's been an eventful GTE race tonight, Jamie.
Yeah, it has. It's been very eventful.
Very eventful. Can you move that piece of thing?
As Daniel Francis is coming through turn 3. And the Aston Martin not having a bad showing, P9 at the moment. And is doing everything he needs to do so far if he's wanting to keep hold over top 10. He's 8 seconds ahead of Sooty. Sooty then needs 50 seconds in front of him. Exmart, who's hunting Fury down, is 3 seconds behind Fury, but has to pit. Does Exmart? We've not seen Exmart in the pits yet.
We'll see whether he comes in this lap, but I think G is going to be on an absolute mission now to catch Unorthodox, but I think he's probably going to run out of laps to do it.
I think Fury must have made a mistake, because I think he's dropped back off the back of G a little bit.
Yeah, so he's just ahead of Xmart, but he's not really got to think about Xmart. Got Sutty just in front as well. And that's Veilside in the background.
Yeah, Veilside in the background. I want to try and gain on the back of Fury then, as Xmart still to pit. You'd imagine that one will be pitting within the Xmart will be pitting within the next couple of laps, and Fury will make his way through relatively easy. Guys, coming to the end of this race, those who's watching, get you voting for driver of the day. We'll give our thoughts at the end. And Falguest, I tell you what, likes a bit of a loose car, but that's just running a little too wide. And he's got the Mutsnuts after his pit stop. He's got the Mutsnuts just ahead of him here, and he's only 10 seconds behind Gary 131. So can he get that car ahead of Gary 131 and maybe up into the top 6 then, as Gary is well off the back of Veilside? Can Gary start to pump in some laps that may get him a bit closer to Xmart by the end of this race? We'll have to wait and see. But Falguest trying to battle with the Mutsnuts. He had a good debut, hasn't he, the Mutsnuts? Not bad.
Yeah, he's had quite a solid debut. He hasn't really been up the front, but yeah, he's been having quite a few battles, and he's getting some decent points on his first outing. Yeah,
indeed he is, and Falguest all over the back of him at the moment. He's going to look to try and get that G. Only 7 tenths quicker than Dan last lap. That's not what he wants. Let's go back to the Falguest Mutsnuts battle, the only one really on the track. Will Xmart come into the pits at the end of this lap? We'll have to wait and see. But Unorthodox leads this race from G, from Fury, Xmart, Vale, Gary, and then these two. And that is Sutty Apex sending one quite optimistic on Daniel Francis there from a long way back. And well, that was never going to work, and Sutty Apex there just kind of dive bombing Daniel Francis, as we get a vote in for Dan on driver of the day.
I think Falguest might have made a mistake because he's dropped a bit back, but yeah, that was a bit optimistic there from Sutty, trying to Sutty send it, but he hasn't tried it in such a long time.
Yeah, he's forgot how to do it. Yeah, he's got to blow the cobwebs off.
Yeah, he's got to blow the dust off the manual and try and do it again.
Indeed he has. As we get the Mutsnuts then, who's again, since he's been in front of the car, Sutty made a mistake behind him. He got away and kept his head down. Now Falguest has made a mistake behind him, and he can push on as Dan starts lap 31 of 34. So we're coming to the back end of this race, and in the 28.2s, oh gee, in the 26s. Hello.
He's pushing the limits of that car now. He wants the win. He made a mistake, and he's now trying to fight back for it.
Indeed he is, and he's pulled 1.5 seconds near enough out of Dan, who's gaining on the back of the battle of Falguest and the Mutsnuts. Daniel Francis here then has got Sutty gaining on him, but don't forget Sutty has got to get 50 seconds up the road while Veilside are trying to lap them. Don't forget, back markers do have to get out of the way, so hopefully Sutty doesn't stay in the way of Veilside for too long here. As he tucks into the slipstream of Daniel Francis, Veilside giving them a flash, and that is Sutty just coming off the power to allow Veilside through, and Daniel Francis does the same thing. Can Sutty take advantage? No, because Daniel Francis already defended the inside line as he was letting Veilside through. So good job from Daniel Francis then. Mutsnuts and Falguest, that battle will try and resume as Sutty, a bit of a wiggle behind Daniel Francis here, and Daniel then doing his damnedest to keep Sutty behind him, although he doesn't really need to, does he? Because Sutty's got to get 50 seconds up the road.
Yeah, he just let him through there.
Yeah, he did, indeed. I think he was trying to look for a cutback, but it didn't work. And I think Xmart's made a mistake then, as that's Veilside going round Xmart as easy as you like. And I think Xmart still has to pit, and that puts Veilside up into P4, and Xmart then down into 5th place. Who's that just in front of them? I think that is Falguest, if I'm correct. No. So that then is probably Bozzy. It is Bozzy.
Yeah, that is. So he just needs to make sure he comes out of the way. Out of all of these, he doesn't want to make anyone else angry.
No, and he's not just got the one car lapping him here, he's got 4 as Xmart then now comes into the pits.
Now comes out of the way.
How good a pit stop is he going to have at the end of lap 32? Because Gary, I mean, he's about 30 seconds, but he's 25 seconds behind. If Xmart's carrying any damage here, Gary could be in for maybe just catching him slightly.
So if he's got any damage, then it's going to be close. when he comes out of the pits, but I think Xmart's... Oh no, I thought he was on his way out.
No, he's in. So let's keep our eyes on this. You'll see to the right of screen when the Porsche comes around that final corner. The next car coming round is Gary. He's away now. And where's Gary? There's Gary. So then, Gary hunting down the straight, maybe looking at a P5 here. Where is he going to come? Pit limiter off for Xmart. There's Gary 131. So it's a race to the line. And G is taking another 6/10 out of there. But Xmart out in front of Gary 131. And there is P5 for the two-time pro champ.
Yeah, he's got two laps to get that P5. So the Mr. Two Times will be pushing very hard for a P5.
He will, and let's not forget Xmart made a mistake on the last lap, so any more mistakes than that will allow Gary through then. As the Mutz Nuts once again has Falguest all over the back of him. And who's that behind these two? That is Unorthodox then, who's on the penultimate lap, so they're about to be lapped by Dan, so these two will finish a lap short. And Dan then on his penultimate lap 33 of 34. Can Falguest then, who's only going to have one lap after this to get it done, as you'd imagine they'll get out of the way for Unorthodox. Well, Dan's not quite close enough yet, so will he leave Falguest to try and pursue his quest to get P6?
The gap's dropped.
P7,
the gap between Unorthodox and G is now with it around 3 seconds. So G needs to have the absolute perfect last lap.
Yeah, what Dan doesn't want to do as well is Dan will want to clear these two as soon as possible, because G took 1.9 seconds out of Dan on the last lap and he's chomping time away here on the penultimate lap as well. Falguest and the Mutz Nuts battling away, well within their right to stay in front. And here comes Falguest having a look on the straight, gets a better run out the final corner. Dan just a flash of the lights as he starts the final lap. Will not want these two to interfere in G catching him in the background. And the Mutz Nuts goes through. And that just a bit on the brakes here for the Mutz Nuts then, as the Mutz Nuts and Falguest are letting Dan through with the looks of it. Dan will be up the inside of both of them two into turn 2. As a flash of the lights from Dan and Falguest here, just say I'm up your inside. There you go, buddy. And the Mutz Nuts can't get that one done, but on board with Dan then. He's, the Falguest here just a little bit wide, and Mutz Nuts couldn't get a good run. Now G in the background, let's keep your eyes on him. 1.7 is the gap, and G's going to push Dan all the way as the Mutz Nuts trying to fight back, but G in the background will want to get past these two as well as quick as possible. And is that Falguest who's losing the rear? No, manages somehow to hang on to it. The Mutz Nuts has gone off though at turn 3, and there then is the only G who's really on the back of Dan. Can Dan keep this together for a couple more corners here for a race win? Race win number 9. Let's not forget, only one vote in the chat for driver of the day, which is going the way of Dan Davis on Unorthodox at the minute. G is now through. Dan has got to nail these two corners to get this race win and to get this race win done perfectly. Dan at the minute looks like he's got it covered. Nice and easy through the penultimate, nice and easy through the final corner, and it is going to be race win number 9 is down the straight. He's not going to lose it from here, but race win number 9 for Dan Unorthodox then. What a drive from him. The only G is going to come home to take a solid second place. Falguest will come home for 7th, with the Mutz Nuts then home in 8th. Fury, what could have been for this man? It's going to be a P3, it's still a podium for him, but what could have been for him in this race? A top drive from Fury, great stuff from him on his 50th appearance, let's not forget, and on the podium in the GTEs. Valeside P4 losing a bit of ground to the only G once again in this one here then. Not what he'd have wanted at all as he comes home P4. Xmart then looks like he's pulled away from Gary at the end of this one for P4. Gary then will take a P5, and a solid job for him. Daniel Francis and Sutty, I don't think they're finished yet. Here comes Daniel Francis, which will get...
Sutty's finished.
Yep, so Daniel Francis gets Sutty back, so Sutty will take 10th. Daniel Francis will take 9th. Bozzy Boy, well, I think he needs to have a little look at himself after tonight and you know, sort of apologise to a few people I think he may have to make. But he crosses the line as he spins it. Yeah, you don't want to see that, as Xmart actually then copies and does the same thing. And then Gary 131 will cross the line to finish P6 as Xmark finishes P5 then. So what a night. Fastest lap goes to the only G with a 26.6. Do you want to get the top 3 in while I read through the final order, and I'll quickly read out the championship standings if you want to get the top 3 in for a quick chat.
Yep.
So then, based off the top standings at the minute, without obviously introducing the new guys into it, with that'll all be sorted when the tables are done, provided they score points. The only G then leads away from Unorthodox by 7 points. It's then Veilside 12 points back in third now. Falguest is up to fourth, with Disco dropping down to fifth. BT Target in sixth place. Xmark Fury tied on 21 for seventh and eighth. DJ Phil Green missing out on a few points tonight in ninth. Liam stays in 10th place with with Andy in P11. Nicky 12th, Grandad Steve 13th. Maze Gamer still yet to score a point, but your result tonight was Unorthodox from G, Fury Veilside, Xmark Gary, Falguest, the Much Nuts, Daniel Francis, Sooty Apex, and that Buzzy Boy. Sooty and that Buzzy Boy had heck of penalties. DJ Phil Green as well retired or disqualified lap 8. Just looking in the chat, driver of the day for Dan, says Welshie and Little Each. Nice podium for Fury on his 50th. Well done, Dan. Kenny, only call at the end, but awesome racing, guys. Cheers, Kenny, for joining in. Hopefully you've left a big thumbs up. Well done, Fury G, and Dub says peaceful step, lad. So before we get to interviews, Jamie, driver of the day?
Has to be Unorthodox. He's come from the back, controlled the race, and ultimately won. So
Well, Dan will be driver of the day then, but I'm going to give my vote to Fury because I thought he led that race absolutely brilliantly on his 50th appearance, and that's who we'll start with. Fury, 50th appearances at Simplay Motorsport and a podium in a GTE class. Not bad night.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Just a shame I got a couple of spins and hit Aston Martin in the rear and gave me damage.
Yeah, you had pace tonight that was matching and keeping Dan and G behind you, so you must have been happy with that.
Oh yeah, keeping G behind me was something I was just so stoked about, and then the bad pit stop just completely ruined it.
Yeah, you had the pace, mate, and congrats on your 50th appearance as well.
Cheers.
And then we've got G in the chat, who was, I'll tell you what, on another level after his pit stop there. Just didn't have enough laps to get past Dan.
No, I'll tell you what happened. My radiators might have been pretty closed. So guess what engine damage I had at the end of the race?
Quite a substantial amount, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it was about 27, I think.
Ah, brilliant. Absolutely
And,
brilliant.
same with the brake ducts. They got up to about 800 degrees.
800 degrees, wow, that is crazy. Good night though, good pace for yourself as well.
Yeah.
Very quick driver. Well done tonight, G. Congrats on the second place. And we got Dan in with us as well. And it wouldn't be a Simplay race without speaking with Dan at least one point of the night on the podium, whether it's GT5s, GTEs or GT3s. Dan, 9th wins now at Simplay, 1 behind Fury, 10 behind Jamie. They're just flowing this week, aren't you? 2 wins this week. What a shame we wasn't at Le Mans.
It is a shame that we weren't at Le Mans. It's probably a good thing we weren't at Le Mans, to be fair. Probably wouldn't have a race win, but no, good. 9th win. I was actually telling Fury in the race I was trying to catch him on race wins, so I was hunting him down to make sure that I was starting to catch him. So I have to make it up in something, so GT5s and GTEs is where it's at. First race win in GTE, so I'm happy that I beat G and Veilside fair and square, so I'm happy with that.
Fury kept you honest as well, didn't he? Because every time you sort of closed the gap, Fury then extended it by a couple of tenths, a couple of laps later.
I've got to take my hat off to Fury. He had good pace. He was a little bit of consistency here and there, and probably a little bit of problems with the traffic. But other than that, he was solid. And at times I couldn't respond. I was just quite happy to sit there and wait. But I knew both G and Fury had engine issues, so I was just biding my time and just waiting for the right moment to hit. But I take my hat off to Fury. Brilliant driving. He's maturing every single round. So brilliant stuff from him.
Yep, 9 wins now for yourself, 1 behind Fury. Are you obviously Fury being in the Pro-Am, looking strong in that division as well on the Wednesday night? Are you looking at the GTs and GT5s now to try and stay ahead of him on race wins or keep with him on race wins?
If anything, GT5s is more the benchmark to get race wins. GTEs is just whether or not G and Veilside have issues. Regardless of the GT3s, again, sadly I'm going to be missing Le Mans. I don't know if I'll be able to make it or not. but I will try my very best to try and make up the points. And yeah, as long as I can get in and fight one way or another, I will never ever give up. So Fury, your 10 wins is going to get caught, and I'm going to keep hunting you down.
Well done tonight, Dan. Jamie, any final words from yourself?
Yeah, so just good night's racing, clean, close. A few questionable things, but I'm sure they'll all be discussed behind closed doors and sorted out. But yeah, congratulations to North Dubs, G and Fury on the top three. You all had amazing pace, and yeah, hope. And looking for some good racing Monday night in the GT5s.
Yeah, we'll be back live Monday night for the GT5s at Silverstone International, night race there before we head to Knockhill the week after. We'll be back next Friday night around Zolder for your GTEs. That's going to be an interesting race as well. And we'll be back Wednesday and Thursday night as always with the GT3s, the Pro-Am on Wednesday and the Pro on Thursday night. Fury with one hand on the title. Dan and D-Big's missing. Does that give Gary an opportunity to pounce on his championship lead? And Jamie still with double points to take. That could be an interesting one. That's all we've got time for though, folks. It's been a pleasure to have your company tonight. We'll be back Monday night, as Jamie said, from all of us here at Simplay Motorsport. Good night.
Good night.